Uh,
Rolling. Talk to me.
so we're in Bloom Park at the moment.
You're gonna hear birds chirping, maybe.
I don't know, but these mics are pretty good. Do you know that our
The birds are
cohort
pretty
name?
loud.
What?
The birds are pretty loud.
Yeah, but I faith. This could
Okay.
also be a terrible recording.
We'll see.
Our cohort named this park. Did you know that?
Oh, so it's actually called Bloom Park?
Yeah, so it was unnamed, and then once I think on a lunch break, because some of us used to always come here. I actually wasn't here for this part. I found out later. They were like, "Oh, how funny it would be to call it Bloom Park," but Bloom like our study association,
Yeah.
not like the Dutch word Bloom.
Yeah, I figured that one out.
And then if you look on Google Maps, it's all of us having like written reviews. Like you'll recognize all the names that wrote a review for this park. And then also it's something funny was the staff of our degree had an event here. And well, not here, but they were trying to find a place to go, and they were like, "Oh, let's go to wow, look, up the park is called Bloom Park. What a coincidence! Let's go." Not knowing.
Oh,
Like,
they didn't know. Wait, so like its name on Google Maps is now Bloom Park. Oh, that's kind of cool.
yeah, you can name unnamed places.
Nice.
Nice, right?
Yeah.
You could leave a review for it on Google Maps.
Maybe I will. Okay, but you had another still.
Yeah. Okay. So I brought I cooked like fish for lunch today, and I put it in a container, and I was also just drinking like broth on the side, and I was drinking that first, and then the fish was like beside me, and then there were these two dogs. I'm on campus, and with like our friends and whatnot, and there's these two dogs that came and they were playing, and everyone in my little group were remarking like, "Oh, you know, so cute, so fun." And for a moment, I did think like, "Oh, I should probably close the container, move the container because the dogs are probably going to end up eating this."
So it was open. The container was open.
It was open.
Wait, where was this? Outside.
Just over the
Were you
before the
eating
break.
while it was happening?
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh.
and everyone was having lunch, and they weren't even that close to me. They were like, yeah, decent, like some distance away. But my back was sort of towards them, and everyone else could sort of see them better. And they were running around, and maybe like quite a while later, like 20 minutes later or something, suddenly like there's this commotion, and Sally's like, "No," or something, and obviously the dogs had come. I think maybe one of them knocked into me. They're just puppies. They're two little puppies. And they knocked over the container, immediately realized it was food and started eating it. And I'm a little bit bummed because that was like the highlight of my meal, but I don't really care. And I'm not going to stop them because I'm not like going to salvage it, but also good for them. They get a fun meal, I suppose. And then the owners come. It's like two guys. I think they each had one dog, and they start apologizing. And I'm a little bit apologetic because I'm thinking like, oh, some people get super fussy when their dog eats food that they're not supposed to. And then some people like I've been blamed before that I didn't take better care of my food. So I was like, oh, it's just fish, don't stress. Like there's just a little bit of salt. It should be fine. What's up?
I just realized the amount of shit around us.
Oh
like
yeah,
dog
there's a
shit.
bit of. I think it's
Yeah, I'm leaving a review definitely.
One of them actually. One of my friends, I think, had written like too much poop or something.
There's actually so much dog shit around us. And the dog ate your fish.
And then the dog ate my fish, and he was very apologetic, and I kind of just laughed, and then, I said it was okay, and then he went away. The dog didn't even finish it, but I obviously was not going to continue eating it. And I guess my friends were kind of like, "Oh, why did you stop them?" And then I was like, "Why?" And then later on, maybe like 10, 15 minutes later, he comes back. And I thought the person approaching was going to want me to do like a survey or something, because that happens a decent amount of times, sitting on the grass there. And no, I realized it's him, and he's got like 5 years in his hand. He's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." I'm like, "Oh no, like it's really fine. Don't stress about it." And then he like puts it on my jacket and he walks away, and I found that very sweet. And that does cover the cost of the fish that the dog ate. So pretty happy. Good story.
The dog ate your lunch. I've never heard that before in real life. Okay. But yeah, so what are we talking about today?
ADHD.
Yeah, something I will acknowledge I have not a lot of knowledge about. So this is gonna be a Sabrina heavy
Great.
episode. This is gonna be an episode of Sabrina teaching me stuff. With the occasional interesting. Okay.
It's largely what incentivized me to do this, actually, because you say that you don't know much about it.
Mm-hmm.
So to preface everything, I feel like I'm gonna come across sounding a bit
just like dog shit right behind me. I'm so like, I feel like I'm sitting in.
No, you're not. You're fine. Embrace the nature, Caleb.
Okay.
And the
Sorry.
weather.
Continue.
Yeah. My preface. I think I might come across as a bit. I don't know how else to say this. Like unhappy about ADHD. That or like it's gonna sound like I'm scapegoating a lot to it, which are both things that are not true, but also kind of true. I don't want like it's a disability. I don't want this to sort of be the justification of everything that I know myself to be, or the excuse of why I can't or don't do certain things. And yeah, sometimes I get a little bit frustrated that I might be a little more hindered because I have it. So that's just the start. So I found out I had it when I came to uni in my first year.
Okay. Would you say that's like late or like early?
Very late.
Very late, right? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite important to recognize this in children. It's also just super common, but it's actually also very common for people to only recognize that they have it in their first year because of uni, because your whole life you've had structure that was kind of forced upon you by school and your parents and your family, and then when you go to university, that's when you don't have that anymore, and it becomes very, very apparent. So yeah, super common. I say this, and that's why I kind of think like, oh, now I see and read a lot about it that justifies a lot of things. Yeah, sometimes it's vindicating, sometimes it's a pain in the ass. It's so ADHD. What is it? It's attention deficit hyper disorder, right? Sometimes it's also mixed or grouped together with ADD. So just attention deficit.
So what is the difference? I thought they were the same thing, and one of them was just like a shortened version.
So ADHD is basically two parts: ADD and ADHD. You're either more you have more trouble focusing, or you have more trouble staying still. In a very very broadly put way, or you have both. But I don't know. Generally, I think some people tend to one more than the other. I think I'm a little less fidgety, but I'm pretty much maxed out on the scales.
Okay.
Which also just aren't super accurate. So yeah, that's basically it. How it works is that the dopamine receptors in your brain are imbalanced, and they okay, don't quote me on this. This is kind of genuine, I know, and I read up about this a while back, so it's going to be a little bit off. But they fluctuate a lot more than a neurotypical person. So you're either neurodiverse or neurotypical. And you don't.
I heard that word a lot on Twitter.
Yeah.
Last summer, because a lot of tech people, it's so annoying.
A
lot of tech people, no, they just love to use that word. I guess like it's more like, you know how it's cool to have like how it used to be like cool. Oh, if you wear glasses, like you're super smart and nerdy. That's how they use the word on Twitter when I was
typical neurodiverse.
Neurodivergent.
Neurodivergent, right? That's actually the whole thing. Yeah, and oh my god, but I feel like any word that you use in anything within this realm sort of becomes stigmatized, and it gains this connotation, and it's, I don't know, it doesn't always end up being positive. It's usually someone always having to defend it, to be like, remember, it's just a word, whatever.
Yeah, and that was the only time I had encountered it. So when you said, I was like, oh, that was my definition of the word based on the context that I saw it in. Was like, people say that they're that word to justify that they're smart, but it's interesting to come up in this context, meaning just like, not.
You're just not neurotypical. Yeah. It's exactly what it is. It's just the system in your brain works a little bit differently, and it's more out of whack, and you need more systems in place in order to fit in a little bit better with how the world is currently structured.
Uh-huh.
Because broadly speaking, the world is it's designed in a very neurotypical way in terms of like its work hours, the way people take breaks, just the structure of a classroom, stuff like that. Obviously, I'm focusing a lot more on education because that's what I engage with more. And then there's all these other things like you've got this thing called like your executive function in your head. It's sort of like your RAM, right? For random access memory. So basically, in your mind, for non-techie people, the part where an instruction comes in and stays the longest. And also, if you get like multiple instructions, it will prioritize them and order them in what should happen first, what isn't a priority. But with people with ADHD, you don't get that perspective. That working memory, that executive function is just off, out of whack completely. You'll either completely forget that you have something, you'll completely forget to prioritize something, and it also gets you to hyperfixate on things and have this all or nothing attitude. So that's also where it comes out.
Yeah. Wait, so people with ADHD have what, less RAM than the neurotypical, or more RAM? Playing with this computer
it's
now.
just
different type of RAM.
it's just like quote unquote broken. It just works differently. Like it gets an instruction, it doesn't know what to do. It's either going to go all or nothing because it has nowhere to send it to, can't gain perspective, or it's going to forget all the other things you told it to do. Or and then like your dopamine will kind of also shoot up and down based on how you feel about all these things, and that instability also causes a bunch of emotional changes like binge eating or alcoholism or just all these addictions to try also get these quick dopamine surges, like dopamine rushes, right? Oh, but that's also kind of the cool thing. So with humans, like whenever someone is sick or ill, your body will naturally find ways to self-medicate. So that's what a lot of people do, is that over the years they develop their own structure to get by, and you don't really realize it, but you're self-medicating. So being in the sun elevates your dopamine. Having what do they call it? When you're like overstimulated or something, you realize, oh, if I just scroll on my phone for a little bit, it calms me down, or it helps me dissociate, all these things. Or like, I don't know, looking into eating, or I don't know, some people get super into sports. Some people realize that staying up the whole night is what works for them, and all these things. It's never quite the same between two people, but there are a lot of similarities. So yeah.
But for you,
Yeah.
what is it? What is your ADHD, if that's a valid question?
Yeah, so I think there's like 3 levels if you go to the psychiatrist. They test you on your inattention, on your hyperactiveness, and then on your something else. Can't remember something else. Something else I maxed out with like 9 out of 9.
Oh,
Inattention was like 8 out of 9, and then hyperactive was
yeah, that was the lowest
7.
one, right? Oh,
Yeah.
that's
So
the
still super
lowest. So
high.
it's okay.
Yeah, so it's like, oh, you have ADHD. Oh, shocker. Yeah, so I'm medicated, and what that does is just balances out my dopamine a little more for a little bit longer. And then it's kind of crazy because
But you didn't used to take them.
no.
Okay.
After I got diagnosed, then I started getting prescribed. Yeah.
But that takes a while, or?
Oh God, the process. It's a nightmare.
Okay, because I didn't hear you about you taking meds until like I'd say like a month ago, and if you said you've been diagnosed.
Yeah, because I do it on off.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there are periods where I always have it. Some people, like, you're meant to take it every day, fixed times. But then again, like, they're quote unquote self-medicating. And a big thing is like scaffolding. It's where you basically creating your own structure in a day. And with these things, you can I don't want to be harsh, but you can get by. Like if I get enough exercise, if I eat my 3 meals in a day, if I get sunlight and all of these things, then and get my full hours of sleep, then it helps a lot. It's kind of like you're helping yourself, right? But yeah, so, but again, the super like me traits are clearly the ones when I'm not on medicine. So remember once I don't know if you remember, but once you like complimented me, I guess, on how I can get super hyperfixated on something. And
yeah.
like the day I discovered Notion, and then suddenly the next day it was super beefed up, right, with all these things. Like that's obviously a trait of hyperfixating. Hyperfixations are a huge thing. You find something you like, it comforts you, so you go at it, you overdo it until you get so sick of it you can never do it again. Yeah.
Also, what I noticed was that you talk like very fast.
Oh yeah.
I guess like maybe that's also part of it, or that's just how you are.
No,
I can then also imagine like talking to someone who talks slower.
Yeah.
Like if you were to say you get the gist of like the what he's trying to say, or she's trying to, or they're trying to say, and like the first, let's say 4 words.
Yeah.
Is it like super hard for you like to not interrupt them and be like, I get it, as they continue to try and explain their point, or like does that not come into play?
Well, I mean, definitely the like brain working on hyperspeed sometimes, and therefore like I speak super quickly is a thing. Me like off medication, just hearing someone speak and all of that. I function well when someone goes at the speed that I go at, so I can follow a lot.
Not a lot of people.
All these things, but obviously that's not the same if it's like educational material. Then just, you're telling me how to try to get but like, what do you mean? If do I struggle to follow along if someone's like slower?
Yeah.
Sometimes it gets really hard to sometimes like track things, and then I have all these issues with. I get super anxious about like social cues and the way I behave outwardly because I can seem quite different at times. Also with ADHD, at least also what I believe and what I know, it's a common school of thought is that a lot of things like depression and anxiety are all holistic, it's all interconnected. And I mean, obviously, if you've grown up with this sort of disorder and like no one recognizes, no one realizes you have it, and you become sad, then you can see the linkage, right? And therefore, a lot of my anxieties sometimes come because of just overthinking, and I'm like my mind is just going while someone is speaking very slowly, interacting very slowly, and like the pace in my head doesn't stop, right?
Yeah. For one of my honors classes, called complexity, we had made like a causal loop diagram.
Yeah.
And were in groups, and one of my group mates studied psychology here, and so she was like very well educated in that kind of things. And like when we were making it, was like, oh, like for me at least, it was like a learning thing of like, oh, it's all like really interconnected. Like, oh, like I feel like if you have, well, it seemed like if you had one, it was only a matter of time for like it's very easy to fall into having all. Like with a lot of feedback loops in the. Anyways, that was just when you said that, it made me remember that class.
No, very, very much so. I mean, even like there's that book of what's it, psychotic disorders or something, and it's like any person who picks it up and reads it will have at least, I think, something like 20% checked off, something like that. You can really put a label to anything, and yeah.
One thing that I do want to talk about, I guess in my ignorance of my veil of ignorance of what this is, it always seemed to me like you should be like why don't you just like use it as a superpower, like just use it to like overclock everything that you want to. I guess because that also comes from like, I guess like not propaganda, but like the things that I see online about people with like mental disorders and like having them talk about how, oh, it's a superpower, not a like a disability type of thing. So I always thought that way. Also because the podcast that I listen to, the Primogen, he's like a big guy in the tech space. He grew up or like had ADHD, and then also that led into him having a lot of other things, including like depression and whatnot. And then he said in the podcast, maybe I'm paraphrasing a lot, or maybe I remember it wrongly, but it was kind of like a thing where like in the end, his ADHD at least kind of like became a tool for him that he used in order to like do what he does. And so I think I've told you that as well, like, or asked, like, oh, why don't you like kind of go with the flow rather than against it? I guess that's what I want to know. Like, what's kind of like, what's the nuance there?
Well, I mean, I think that's what everyone aspires for in life, right? That you're able to capitalize on your best skills that come naturally to you, and the more you can do with it, and have that be what you're successful at. I don't know, just things will be great. I mean, there's a bunch of things like, you know, it's not that easy. It's kind of complicated, yada yada yada, and also that it's quite. I mean, this in itself, depending on how much you want to acknowledge and recognize it, which differs per person, and even just for me, it differs per phase that I'm in. It's already like quite a lot to process, and then it gets to the point where you kind of just want to do things naturally. But the life you live, and I think the life most people live, it's very, very difficult to just do that. Like, I still have bills to pay. I still have to come to uni at certain times. Just because I'm unable to sit in a room for longer than 15 minutes doesn't mean I can walk out halfway through a lecture. And 10 minutes is not enough of a break for me. Being in a classroom is not enough. You know, like all these things, like these are things I can't change. So yeah, I think it's nice if, you know, if I get the sudden surge of, oh my God, I want to sit down and hyperfixate on this book and just read it till like its end because I have the superpower, great. But now a lot of other things are probably affected. Like my sleep is probably compromised. The work I was meant to do is probably compromised. I'm probably maybe at some point starting to start panicking about the other work I meant to do, the stuff I'm procrastinating, stuff I'm avoiding. Maybe I've skipped a meal because I've done this, and now it's gonna throw other things like out of loop. And also, it's not a magic trick I can just pull out.
Yeah.
And there's also times when you just crash, like when things become too much or overwhelming, overstimulating. You just dissociate, you just stop. So right now it's hard, but I also think that the most notable people, like most CEOs and whatnot, are neurodivergent, and that's what they've probably done in their life. They've got into a position where they've really utilized what they know they can do. But this is like same for everyone that's in a position that's done that well, right? I mean, everyone just wants to kind of
Yeah. Do you think after being diagnosed, I guess it's hard to like assess, but do you think after being diagnosed, you've kind of like become more ADHD? Like, you get what I'm trying to say? Like, you know how like confirmation bias? No, that's not the word I'm looking for. But like how like once you notice something, like you do it more, kind of. I don't know if it's a dumb question to ask. I guess I'm asking like comparing your life before you knew and after you knew. Like if there's any differences, or do you think like? Well, that's the first question. If you think there are any differences,
so this is
to,
why
like how you act.
So this is why I say that it was very similar to the process of the flowers for Algernon. In the beginning, you kind of feel like you see the changes and you're quite happy because you're finally behaving more normally, and you realize like, oh, something was wrong. It's like having an injury that you never addressed or got it to heal or whatnot. That is very distracting to me right now. Like it's quite triggering, a screaming baby on the phone with this guy. But anyways, but yeah, for a while you're happy, and then for a while you kind of feel vindicated. You feel acknowledged, you feel validated, all these nice things. And then you kind of start getting, I mean, okay, after that there's this period where you go around and you kind of tell everyone, I guess, because it's not something you really want to hide. But yeah, okay, I'll just say that for now, where it's like, oh yeah, sorry, I've got ADHD, so that's why like I'm jumpy or whatever. People understand, people are great. But then you get angry because it's a disability. You get angry because it's like, oh, sometimes I just wish I didn't have this. Yes, I know it's a superpower. Yes, I know it's very me, but like, it brings a lot of trouble and whatnot. And then after the anger, you kind of get to a point where you want it to not be the reason of everything. Like, I don't want people to look at me and associate my behavior just with ADHD. Like, oh, that's why you're super smart. No, you know? But also maybe yes, probably, you know, all these things. So when I'm like weak, yeah, I attribute some stuff to it. When I'm unable to be super disciplined, when I'm crashing on bad days, it's like, yeah, that's because I have ADHD. But I think it becomes too close to the realm of me just wanting to blame it which is why I think now I'm very much in a phase where I just try not acknowledge it as much.
I feel like it's really, at least the way I'm seeing it, it's really hard on yourself. Like, I guess not being able to allow yourself to blame things on your disability. It's like, at least the way I see it, obviously it's a lot less black and white than what I'm about to say, and maybe it might sound very ignorant, but it's like if if a crippled person was upset that they couldn't run as fast as a normal person, you know?
Yeah.
Or as a person with well functioning
Yeah.
legs. Is the way I kind of see it. So I feel like it's being a little bit hard on yourself, but then again, I think knowing you, it does make sense that you wouldn't want to attribute. Like, I guess it's kind of like more rewarding being able to attribute all of your being to like things that you do and not necessarily things that are out of your control. And that does count for the good and the bad.
I also just personally have so much stigma and criticism against this before I have it. And even now, like if someone came up to me, like I get I get frustrated when people come up to me and just straight up annoyed and they're like, oh yeah, I do this because I have ADHD. But also like, I don't know, I feel like it's such an easy scapegoat for so many things. And it's just built up this bad stigma. Like you just look at someone kind of differently if they tell you they have a disorder, right? And I mean, hopefully that changes in the future generations and the next people who grow up in this world don't have to deal with this. But yeah, as of right now, I don't. I think it's also that I'm able to be compared with people who are neurotypical, and I don't need that to be seen as a hindrance in places where it's unnecessary. So yeah, I maybe can't run as fast, but I don't perform. I still perform better than some people who just naturally aren't fast runners. You know, for instance. Yeah.
Okay. Do you think your life would be different if you hadn't gotten diagnosed?
Oh, so different. I've only been able to pass a lot of things because, again, no structure in university. I really struggle to get certain like assignments done and whatnot, and medication has really helped with that. Just focusing.
So I guess in this situation, like the knowledge more empowered you than like kind of not disappoint, but like let you. Damn, I can't find the words.
I mean, again, phases, right? Like a little bit of both. I don't know if you can tell now, but I'm currently medicated.
I don't know if I'll be able to tell the difference.
I'm just a lot more like when I am medicated, I'm just a lot more neutral, a lot calmer. Yeah. I personally, I mean, I feel a huge difference. Oh God, and there was a whole like identity crisis that I had for a while because for a while I did exactly what they said and I took the medicine every single day and then I realized like that's not what works for me. But when I took it every single day, I would be like more me at the end of the day or something and the difference would just be so vast. Or even like now when I take it and I'm just in a room full of people, like my friends will keep asking me like what's wrong? What's wrong? And it's just that when I'm on medicine, I'm just kind of like a robot. I just kind of have no feelings. And a big part of my personality is big feelings.
But do you think, okay, that's another thing. So do you think that is so because that's what you're used to, like in yourself for so long? And that's why maybe you think that it's like not you. Because I'm imagining if you were, if you were to have been diagnosed earlier in your life, that it probably would have been a different story where you probably would have gotten a lot more used to how you are medicated, and that maybe would have been your personality, or like you would have developed a personality around that rather than like I guess letting it go uncontrolled.
I mean, yeah, this is kind of what it would be like, I guess, if I was born neurotypical. I mean, the first thing I wanted to say immediately was, oh, I'm also just so much happier when when I have these big emotions. But then it's also like, okay, well, see, when I'm on medication, it's just restoring my dopamine to like to be more stable.
You feel suppressed when you're on medication?
Definitely not. I just feel that I have no strong emotions. And I also just know it's very different from what I know. So I'd like to think like, yeah, the person I was born with has these big emotions and that is what makes me happier and is what's more authentic and all these things. I think, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I also have this whole thing against like medication, I I don't know. I don't love the idea of needing to take something every day that alters me a little bit based on based on the form I was when I was born, like my God-given self or whatever. Like, you know, I mean, I have the same stigma against taking a multivitamin every day for the same reason, but yeah, big identity crisis.
Okay.
People got really upset at me though when actually a lot had changed after I was on and off medicine, and I realized like, oh, I need to start being like kind of more selfish, right, and putting myself first more. And a lot of people got upset with me, like, why aren't you creating these events anymore for other people? Like, why aren't you devoting all your time to other things anymore? And for me, it's like, oh, because regardless of being on or off medicine, it gave me this clarity that I just developed a little more as a human, right? But people were so so shocked at this change, and other people dealt with it very badly, and it got me to reflect a lot on the types of person I am. Jesus, we're strange kids. So there's this whole other side of things, which is that ADHD in women is a lot harder to identify than men.
Why is that?
Because what kind of happens as like girls grow up versus boys is that girls start getting kind of praised and complimented, right? Just on certain things and punished for others, to the point where they become really big people pleasers because that's all they want. They hate when conflict arises, even though the conflict has arisen because your head doesn't work the same. And then you kind of start leaning into the things that have make other people happy. You internalize all the bad things. Every time something goes wrong, you internalize, and you tell yourself like, oh, you'll fix it, you'll change it. You don't open up about it. And gradually you start thinking that the things you do well, or the things that just make people happy, are what you need to focus on. And this already it causes a lot of anxiety. It causes a lot of like high functioning anxiety, just by keeping everything.
What's high
hidden.
functioning anxiety?
It's you can't. So it's not. You don't really see someone like get super. I don't know too much about it, but you don't. It's a lot that's like under the surface. You don't see someone get super panicky in social situations or whatnot, but deep down, they're just overwhelmed with overthinking every single little thing, and they're just constantly stressed, constantly panic, constantly aware of like everything that's going around. So yeah, for like, and then like girls realize like, oh, when they get good grades, they get praised, so they study harder, work hard, so you can't. And also like people with ADHD usually get bad grades, but girls, they'll work harder on getting good grades. Like that was the biggest surprise to the psychiatrist when I went, was like, yeah, I had no trouble studying because I just had to study. Like I had to learn stuff. And then the outward appearance is that you're probably someone who's just maybe a little bit anxious, but you're performing great. You do well in social situations. I don't know, you're just acting fine, and you don't think anything's wrong. There's a whole other thing to it, yeah. And then like girls like emotionally suppress a lot, and then when you don't share things, you don't realize that other people are having different experiences. This isn't supposed to be what's normal, but you've already taken it as what's normal. You've already created this rule in your head that if I behave this way, people will be happy. People are happy, great. Don't want conflict, not at all. Conflict stresses you out. Go with it. So yeah, so like I think I'm smart because that's what I got praised for. I used to be like considerate of other people because I'd get criticized when I was being inconsiderate. I'm good at the like music and whatnot because that also made people happy when I did well with stuff like that. So yeah.
But do you still find that in yourself, or do you think you're studying more to live for yourself? I think we've talked about this before, maybe, or like touched upon touched upon it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important to do stuff for yourself, but also it's just such a difficult line because right now I'm Oh my God, this whole like long-term gratification thing. Yeah, I mean, the switching subjects and keeping track. It's
Yeah,
This
I
long-term
can follow.
gratification. Holy crap. That was very difficult. Like delayed gratification does not work. You cannot see into the future. You just have no concept of time whatsoever. Everything is just now. And if it doesn't work, you like, and you immediately need comfort, you immediately need something to boost your dopamine, but then your dopamine crashes, all these things. But also this is just super common in like this day and age, right? With social media and all of these things. People are having these broken dopamine systems and all of that. And also, by the way, speaking of you being able to follow this, a lot of people who grew up around people with ADHD tend to continue being in circles that have this. And ADHD is also hereditary. So like my brother has noticed that a lot of his close friends all have ADHD. And that's probably because he grew up with me and I had it. So you being able to follow my conversations is possibly indicative that someone in your life.
I wouldn't know. I don't think anyone that I knew before uni would be the type to go get checked for such things. I don't know. Maybe I don't know.
Or maybe you have it, yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if I want to get tested though.
No, yeah, that's the other thing. Like,
I think it's very scary.
It is, and also I think I don't know, like, well, again, stigma with neurodivergent, neurotypical. Like, I just like to, I don't know, not be different, I guess.
But also about the thing with social media and everyone having broken dopamine receptors. Also part of the complexity class. We had studied a bit of that, and it was kind of like, okay, is that what is causing like the increase in ADHD prescriptions that we see?
Wondering.
Or is it also maybe because psychology as a field has gotten a lot more advanced since like 10, 20 years ago, where like, okay, like the more nuanced forms of it is like it's more able to be like found because like we've developed better tests, or we're a lot more in tune with such things, and a lot more people are like also self-diagnosing and then going to so maybe it's also maybe the stigma around it has like going down to the point where okay, more people are going to get checked, so naturally more people will be prescribed it. Or it could also be the social media thing, or it could be a combination of both.
I think it's a little bit of everything. I'm convinced that like majority of people are neurodivergent to some extent. Even if you're 2%, I consider that. But I consider that in the same way that I think everyone is bisexual, for even if it's like 2%, right? And then I looked up the stats, and apparently like it's far less, which I just disagree with. And yeah, I mean, also there's more and more people, and I don't know about this dopamine thing. Like, I think I mean, just the medication itself would probably help someone whose dopamine is broken to focus when they're working.
Isn't it a thing also that ADHD meds can be addictive?
It can be if you're especially if you're not, if you don't need it, then I don't know what it does to you. I think it makes you hyperactive or something. I don't know.
Because isn't like a thing with, I think not Rutin, is it Adderall? Adderall is ADHD med.
Yeah, it's a
people.
With ADHD, like when I started taking the medicine, it came out to be that like I had really, really, really bad ADHD, that I needed a really high dose of medication. And it just got higher and higher. And also with that came all these side effects of like an increased heart rate, and I had to get all these beta blockers for anxiety and whatnot. And then I got like, I got into the whole spiral of I'm not living like this. But like the structure they've made for getting medication is so bad that
here or just
everywhere.
Okay.
So one, I think there's a shortage on Ritalin. Two, there's a huge shortage of psychiatrists all around the world. So it's very hard to get an appointment. They require you can't get a repeat prescription for Ritalin because they're scared. I think you're gonna get addicted. You're gonna sell it, whatever. I barely remember to take it. That's the case for most people. And you're supposed to take it at the same time every day. That would be best. Yada yada. And then it's such a hassle to get it because when you get the medicine, you have to like go for a blood check, whatnot, and then it takes time to actually go to the pharmacy and whatnot. And all these steps, there are too many steps for someone with ADHD to do. So like, if you can't get a repeat prescription, you're already like getting your next batch too late after you've probably already finished your first one and realize. And then you're just gonna keep forgetting because you don't have the medicine to help you.
Right.
And it becomes this terrible, terrible loop. Yeah. Too many steps.
Interesting. I never knew about any.
Like people with ADHD, I think are unlikely to get kind of addicted, because that's the thing, you know, when I'm off it, I just crash. Like I'm so exhausted because I've actually done work and stuff during the day, but it's also not what's kind of natural to me, I guess. That I just sleep. People who are taking too much medication, they struggle to sleep afterwards because your brain is still on, basically. But from what I know, I hear the issue more of people, like it's become a very difficult system for people who need the medication to get the medication, and now most people need the medication.
Most people with ADHD need one.
Everyone with ADHD needs the medication.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, again, if you've got such good structure in your life, like my roommate, she's got ADHD, but she doesn't need medication because she's created impeccable structure for herself. Also because she does things that she know helps. Like she knows that having, like needing to work from 9 to 5 and going into the office helps her to start working when she's there. Like there's all these things you need to do for yourself to initiate and to get better. You can't just sit there like passively. I don't know if I told you, but like with Ritalin, at least for me, and I think this is a common experience, it doesn't just get me to work. Like it takes about half an hour to kick in, maybe a little longer, especially, the short release ones. And it's not like I can be on my bed scrolling, I take it, and then half an hour later, I'm suddenly like, oh yeah, now I get to work. No, if I'm busy scrolling my phone and it kicks in, I'm just gonna start focusing on scrolling my phone. I have to actually get up, sit at a desk when it kicks in, then like I can maybe start working. And it doesn't work the same every day. It's not that I can suddenly start working for 4 hours. No, some days I'm still gonna fail. Some days I'm gonna start accidentally tidying up and I'm gonna hyperfixate on tidying up. Like, it's, yeah. I don't know. Wow. I've sort of been avoiding this topic, I guess. Also, like, oh my God, it might make sense, but like, I've been so like really trying to get discipline instilled in my head, right? And now, again, this time with like this little thing I'm doing now, it's again the whole all or nothing, but at least it somewhat works to my favor because I'm knowing myself a little better. That's the other thing. You don't know yourself. You can't feel a lot because you've just never been able to recognize signals from your body. So some people like, you eat and you just don't feel full because one, you don't know what full kind of feels like. You don't know when to stop. And also food gives you dopamine and energy. So the first time I had medication was the first time I was drinking like a yogurt shake or something. And it got to a point where I realized I was full and I put it down and I hadn't even finished it. And it was the most shocking thing I've ever done in my life. I've never had that feeling ever. I've never felt full and like recognized that sign from my body. But like, yeah, I don't have to finish this. There's no need. It was crazy. Oh, and then like this whole thing with object permanence. Like if it's not there in front of me, I'm not gonna know it exists. Stuff like that. Yeah. So yeah, that was one of the craziest things that happened to me. I felt full for the first time.
Okay. So okay, what is your approach? Are you like taking it as in like kind of going off of your lived experience, or are you like reading a lot into like other people's experiences to kind of like help that shape yours? Or
I kind of hate reading other people's experiences.
Okay.
I like when I get comforted, it doesn't help me to know that like you're not the first person who has felt that. Other people in the world do the same thing. Like okay, I don't care. Like I need one, a little bit that, but two, like it just doesn't help me. I don't feel less alone.
Oh, okay.
Like my anxieties aren't that, oh my God, I'm the only person in the world who feels.
No, I didn't mean it like that. More like I guess like
side note.
I guess figuring out like what to do about certain things.
Yeah.
Like, are you like taking it on as in like I'm just gonna like learn through my lived experience? Or are you taking it like I'm gonna read into this, that, and the third?
No, I definitely stopped reading into it. There was a time where I thought it would help to know more. It helps a little bit, I guess. But now I kind of, I mean, I know what works. The thing is, everyone with ADHD knows what they're supposed to what they're supposed to be doing. They just can't. And now I don't know. I'm very picky about how my day goes now, and I try to do like best of both in my everyday, based on I guess lived experiences. So like I time my medication for times when I know I'm going to work. I make sure I get my like nutrition and whatnot. Again, like it's that whole thing of I don't have things near me that will tempt me into doing something else or breaking out of it, because unlike you, this is why I just can't trust myself. And I've never been able to trust myself. I can't trust myself to pick myself back up after a crash, a spiral, something. It's the hardest thing in the world for me. I just can't. There's no other way to explain it. Like, nothing in your body is able to do it. But you still have all the stress in your head all the time about the fact that you can't and all these things. But yeah, fun stuff. Some people some people like exercise and run and stuff when they have ADHD and they like get the energy out. And I'm kind of like, well, I wish I had that. Like that's okay. Obviously, obsession is never healthy, but it's at least a healthier habit than what I have. You know,
you think is it harder for you to like form habits or like have hobbies and stuff?
Yeah, because you hyperfixate. You hyperfixate, and then I don't know. I mean, you know, I've had this identity crisis of I don't know what I like. I just know what like I want to just do the things I'm good at and have people be happy with me that I'm good at them. And I think everyone should just share the sentiment. So much of this is just what everyone wants and does already, you know. So yeah. But I mean, okay, wait. It's still like, you know, very serious. And if anyone listening relates to any of it, you should probably get yourself checked out. If you've been able to follow at this pace I speak at, then definitely like you should get yourself checked out.
I don't know. I feel like, at least for me, like I'm too. I don't know. Obviously, this is also still coming from a place of ignorance, but I feel like I'm too not even in tune, but not even in like a optimized way.
Yeah.
Just in tune with the way I work. I feel like if I were to go get diagnosed and then found out that I had it, I'd be like, a lot of the walls and roads and buildings and networks and connections that I've built about myself internally will like break a little. And it like obviously it will break, but then obviously it would be rebuilt eventually more stronger and like a lot more nuanced.
Yeah.
But like I don't know if I want to do that right now.
But that's the other thing. Like again, like my roommate, so for me, how it started was my therapist recognized it in me, and then afterwards it was like, okay, yeah, I think you've reached a point where you need to get medication for this. And then I started that thing. But like for my roommate, she just takes it. She's not gonna bother getting it confirmed. It doesn't really matter to her. She's also got her personal.
Oh, so she's self-diagnosed.
No, I mean her therapist.
Things that she
like saw it. Basically.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, like it doesn't have to make or break it. But I mean, I personally can't attest to that.
Yeah.
For me, it shatters everything. And now I just get angry, like if I do something, someone's like, "Oh, it's probably like your ADHD." Like,
yeah, I can imagine how that could get on your nerves.
Yeah. Or sometimes I see someone else who exhibits like ADHD, and like I'll just think to myself, like, "Oh, you know, you probably, you know, have this and da 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 da." But I won't bring it up because it's a whole. It's quite a heavy conversation, you know. I don't think it can be taken lightly because at least my peers now, including myself, I'm unable to hear something like this and not have it question, like make me question everything in my life. But yeah, I think everyone has sort of issues. And then there's also the whole link to like autism. It's also like closely linked because that's also another neuro something.
What? Okay.
Yeah, I mean the way like people get overstimulated, overwhelmed. Like stuff I know is, I mean, I don't think I'm autistic, but I know I share some of its traits just because everything is so.
Yeah, everything is.
Yeah, like sometimes texture or sound, like a lot of this can overwhelm me, overstimulate at the most random time. Like, oh my God, I don't know if you know this, but I can multitask pretty well and keep track of things. But a grocery store is like the most like overwhelming place for me ever. You cannot have a conversation with me when I'm in a grocery store, no matter what, no matter anything that I'm buying, because there's too much going around, and I can't speak. Yeah, and you can't tell. And then yeah, you'll have none of my attention.
But like,
stuff like that.
Is it only if you're talking about something that's not groceries? Like also even if you're
No,
talking
I just can't speak.
Oh, okay.
Like I'll have like my default answers, but I will hear nothing that you're saying, and I won't be able to give like a good discussion. I don't know what it is about grocery stores, but everything that goes on, it's like way too much. Yeah, and then I also have I always carry earplugs in case like there's a bit of noise or something about this meeting.
Do you also have a bit of OCD?
I used to think. The thing is, OCD, like all of this is kind of weird because it doesn't like, you know, OCD doesn't mean, I'm sure you know this, it doesn't mean that you just like clean. It's like maybe
it
you
was
just
the most annoying thing when everyone was 14 and I was like, oh my god, my OCD is triggering right now. Like, bring the pencil on the table. It's like, fuck you. Like, you don't have OCD. I swear to God, you don't have OCD.
Yeah, you just like it.
Anyways,
just calm down. Yeah. So that's the thing. Like, not, you know, it's not every part of your life. You can have OCD, but have the worst house in the world, but you kind of you know everything, right? Yeah. I mean, sometimes, and like, yeah, sometimes I'll look at something and have like an itch to change it, or I'll start a project and I just have a vision for it and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure that's all ADHD, but I don't want to think of it like that. I don't want to think that it's just what it is. But yeah, sometimes though, like things can change halfway through a day or halfway through a week or something. It gets very frustrating. Like all the sounds around us now, it's perfectly fine. But I'm pretty sure at some point the sound of the tram will start overwhelming me for absolutely no reason whatsoever.
Okay.
And like all these stupid things. Oh, and then it affects like sleep. So much affects sleep. It's so annoying. And then if you take too strong of a medication and you suddenly stop because they're all stimulants, you'll crash. And then if you, yeah, I mean, so much crap to all of this. So yeah, I feel like you have a better understanding.
Yeah.
Do you think you have more sympathy to like, has this changed you?
I mean, it just sounds a lot scarier.
It is a disorder. The way it was introduced to me was like, it's like broken your arm and you've just done nothing about it. And you've just learned to live your life with this broken arm. And that's fine.
That's also the way, that's so crazy because that's exactly, when you explained to me, that's exactly the way that I was imagining it. Well, my imagination was like, oh, like you just lived your whole life in a wheelchair and thought that was like, you know, and you realized, oh, wait, I can't walk. Like literally that was the thought process in my head as you were explaining.
And then it starts breaking down everything. It's like, think about it, the way we structure, like some people just have an impossible time waking up in the morning, getting up. And now you schedule this 9 to 5 system where you have an hour break. And it's like, I don't know how anyone is meant to be able to like focus like that and just relax after and like, I don't know, schedule their eating, stop when they like all these things. You'll start really picking out even like the structures that desks are in a classroom or something, or the way like a chair is made, or things like that, or like if a chair makes too much noise, if I start moving, and all these fun things, and exams being 90 minutes long, and exams being only written and has to be like memory recalling. Like I'm pretty sure if you gave me an oral exam at any other point in time and question me and everything, like I'll be able to do it, but I just can't write it down. I can't study the way you want me to study, and I can't just write it down. I can't sleep and wake up every morning at 7 a.m., but I can get the exact same amount of work done, but if you let me do it on my own schedule. Like, what if I start working throughout the night because that's my most productive time? You've had this as well, like...
I worked till 6 a.m. yesterday.
Yeah? Jesus Christ, why?
Because I was procrastinating doing my research work for my professor that I had the meeting with today. Because I already postponed it from Tuesday. And then yesterday was like a friend's birthday, so then I went to that. So when I got home, even that it took an hour of like watching YouTube because I just discovered this new channel that I liked. So I wanted to watch a video, and all their videos were like 40 minutes long, so that took a bit. And then I started working, and I realized like I could have done this like but I guess that's the feeling of procrastination.
That's also the feeling of like ADHD. It's just that it doesn't necessarily have to be hard. It doesn't have to be impossible. But you start just blowing it up into something so huge, and you don't, like, you really need to push yourself to try break it down and see what the first steps are. Try to do 5 minutes, whatever. But it's just a lot of pressure on yourself to always do this all the time. And again, all or nothing. It's either that you think that you have to do this for every single thing, or you can't do it at all. And you don't really see the in-between and whatnot. And yeah, when you actually do it, probably wasn't even that big of a deal. Probably wasn't even that hard. Probably could have done it a lot better if you did it earlier. But no, you needed it. You needed it the last 2-hour pressure before the deadline and all these things. But I must say, with my little dopamine reset over the past month, I'm able to like sit and like watch.
I was gonna ask about that as well. Yeah. Because you are very much that type, exactly. We've talked about this already, like the all or nothing.
Yeah.
And so you've had a lot of regimens.
Yeah.
It's like fully committing to something, convinced that it's gonna be like the key to unlock something. But what made you, or what makes you think that this is the one and it's not gonna be like one of the other ones? I understand that like once you have that feeling, you just have to go through on it, like follow through with it, because like it's not gonna leave. And so you kind of had to go with it. But like, what makes you keep thinking like, oh, it's like different this time, type of thing, where like I can feel that this is the one. If that makes sense.
So I guess a lot, so even since before, I did a lot of things based on intuition. Like, sure, I can't pick up other signs from my body, but intuition is something I mean, it was kind of the only thing I could rely on, right? So the most basic answer is intuitively. What I've done basically was since the middle of April, I did like a neural research, which I'm not going to go too much into because, yeah, whatever. And with that also came like fixing my dopamine or something. And I still like, I had weekends when I was scrolling or whatever, but in general, it was better. Something intuitively told me that this was what I needed and that was the best way of incorporating both all or nothing along with incorporating gentle structure because I don't know, before some regimens were like, oh, I'm going to wake up every day at 7 and go to the gym. But then if you don't go, you feel like crap. And also after I went, I realized I was super tired, needed a nap and whatnot. And that would like throw off my circadian rhythm and all this. But also like throughout this podcast, we've done a lot of work into looking at like self-help, betterment, all these things. And I think it quite resonates with me. And also I know that I'm capable of being super disciplined and following a schedule and following rules. And this time I feel like I've actually found the way to implement it and also to gradually kind of get into it. I have no idea what's going to happen if I crash. I'm hoping that it won't be as bad as it is before. But this was the first time where I was like, oh, if I do this, I'm going to slowly be able to read signals from my body. I'm going to hopefully like, and I'm really going to focus every single day and like latch onto this. But also came the realizations of like, oh, the thing with ADHD is like your reward system's also all super messed up. You don't know how to reward yourself. You don't know when because again, you're just chasing dopamine, right? And I realized what kind of didn't work for me was what a lot of people around me have been doing. It's that I don't know, Sunday afternoons they go and they get a pastry from the store. That doesn't work because then I kind of think like, oh, I could do this every day because every day I have something to celebrate. And I was like, oh my god, this just doesn't work. Sugar, carbs, dessert, money, all these things. Like I was like, okay, this doesn't work. What actually worked? I'm like, oh, maybe trying to rediscover the old hobbies I had and doing all this. I don't know. So like this time I think I was just a lot more careful in getting into it. And again, it was a gradual process, very, very gradual. I didn't just start, but it was also structured and strict enough from the beginning that it's not that the rules were changed. It was that I would slowly plan. And even now, like the way I'm doing things, I still have to follow quite a strict regimen. And I'm hoping by the end of it, whenever it does end, that becomes more of like a second nature and I'm able to like before I make a decision, because again, decision making and like self-negotiating, that's what everyone does in their head all the time. You negotiate with yourself over every single thing. Should I eat, should I not eat? Oh, but if I eat now, and then at the end of you do what you want to but not necessarily what you know you're supposed to. I'm hoping at the end of it kind of works itself out a little bit. I mean, it's going pretty well. What are we? It's the first week of May. Oh, it's been about 4 weeks. It's just past 4 weeks.
So a month
And I think it needs to go on for at least 2 more weeks.
Okay. But are you also? Is there also that fear of like
crashing
every time? Yeah, no, the crashing, but also every time after a crash, like it gets more strict or extreme or more like further in in that kind of direction of things.
in previous crashes.
Just the general trend.
So are you saying that like each crash is super bad and then?
No, I don't know about the severity of the crash each time. That's
they get worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, but I'm just saying
how you pick yourself up.
The remedy, like the regimens that you build. Do you think that they get stricter each time, and like what would the limit then be?
I mean, I think in actuality they're all the same amount of strictness. Like they haven't changed much. I've added some rules, but it hasn't really changed from the basics of like wake up. Like it's always been in favor of healthy systems. It's never been functional. It's like 3 meals a day, go to the gym, all of these things. So they crash because it just doesn't, something about it doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I start again, it's the exact same principles, maybe in a slightly different way, but not much of a different way. And I keep thinking like, oh, I need a full day reset, and then I can start it or something like that. And I keep restarting before, and yeah, I don't know why, but right now this all or nothing is working. All the previous alls or nothings are not working.
That's good. As long as it's working, then.
Also, this thing of like me trying to fill in the blank of what you say is a very ADHD thing, because it's me thinking that I have the answer that you would say because I think I know you well enough, and also me wanting you to be faster.
But I do that as well, though.
Yeah,
It's
good. I
in
think
my
it's
meetings
nice.
with my professor. Whenever
when someone's like, yeah. But also, I think like people in our generation, at least they also start like thinking and speaking faster, anyways.
Yeah.
In general.
But I've always been told to slow down.
Yeah.
So I'm always like, especially when I'm presenting, I'm always a little bit more conscious, even though it's still not as slow as apparently it should be. I'm always more conscious about talking slower.
I'm conscious about not filling the wrong person's sentence with a word.
I was gonna ask a question, I forgot. And what were we just talking about? Right, the regimens. It's gone. All right.
And then there are like things that, I mean, I think there's a lot that you have to tell yourself to like love yourself, forgive yourself, all these things. Like, because that's, again, you lose perspective, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you say you crash, oh, I mean, have you seen those videos on social media where someone's like pouring, I don't know, water, and they spill a little bit, and then to prove a point, they spill the rest of it. And it's supposed to convey this analogy of just because you messed up a little doesn't mean you have to just crash and mess everything up. But it doesn't quite work that way with ADHD because you lose perspective and you think it's the end of the world. So you kind of really have to tell yourself like, hey, even if I stay up all night tonight and I don't manage to get to sleep, I know I'm going to be fine tomorrow. I'm not going to just crash. I'm not going to need to crave and see. I might be a little more sluggish, but it's okay. And if you tell yourself that over and over again, at some point, maybe it'll like resonate a bit more. It'll ring true and all these things.
Okay.
Yeah. I think a lot, I mean, oh God. I think I've been super harsh this episode because there's a lot about like,
Yeah.
you really need to be kind, forgive yourself, give yourself grace. Understand that it's not like the conventional term of a disability. You're just wired a little bit differently.
Do you know the
You don't have to
term
control.
tutorial hell?
No.
Basically, like if you want to learn something, you just go through like a tutorial, like maybe YouTube playlist or like a crash course somewhere on the internet. And after that's done, you take another tutorial and then another one. And you just keep taking tutorials because you feel like you're not quite there yet to start like doing it in the real world kind of thing. That's kind of, I guess, the closest way my brain could describe to me like my what I understand of like your all or nothing crash cycle, where it's like, obviously again this probably is coming from a place of ignorance, where it's like I feel like at one point it's just gonna be a thing of like living through it, instead of like, because like again, like after the month and a half of the thing ends, I guess for me that I'm imagining that as a tutorial, and then after that, like, is it gonna be another tutorial, or is it gonna be okay? Because I do know like from each thing, like sure you crash, but like you pick up something from like whatever that regimen was, and then that kind of like carries forward a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
And so in a way, it's kind of like a one step forward, two steps back type of thing.
Yeah, very much so.
Where it's like, I feel like maybe this is the one, but after it might have to be a thing of like, okay, just living.
Yeah. Well, oh, that's funny. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I know personally, I know I'm the worst when I have too much free time. because there's no structure. I struggle to give myself that structure. And if I'm not keeping busy, then your mind has too much time to wander.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the best way I can explain this all or nothing thing is like, I think I've also explained this before. It's like if I'm going to start eating better tomorrow, why not say that I will also go exercise for 30 minutes? Why not also say I'll study for 6 hours? Why not, like, yeah, I get that you're supposed to take small steps, but the only counter argument pretty much is just because you're gonna crash, you're gonna fail. But then in my head it's like, okay, I just won't, you know? Which I think is so stupid, but it's like what?
Yeah.
It's like why, I just don't understand why not just do it all now? What did you just check?
I was looking for a word.
A word? What word?
Because you talked about like breaking things into like smaller parts, right?
Yeah.
Reductionism. Yeah. Like taking a more of a reductionist approach.
Is that the word in coding as well? Because I remember it's that. Okay.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound familiar to me, but I know there's a word, yeah.
Maybe that's just not an ADHD
Reduction.
thing.
What?
Like having a more reductionist approach in terms of like breaking a bigger thing into its smaller subcomponents. So then like the bigger thing would then be like, I guess, being more disciplined, and then the smallest subcomponent would then be like studying for this amount of hours, going to the gym for this amount of time, doing this and that. But
yeah, I mean, yeah, the idea of scaffolding and structure is that you do this with all your tasks. You break down, oh, I have to do my homework. You break down into, oh, I'm going to complete the first week's homework in this time, and in this time it'll be this and this and this. But it's very difficult then to choose a place to stop, because why not break everything down? Remember when you introduced that that calendar AI to me?
oh yeah,
And it planned my whole day. And then I was like, why not go into even more detail? Why not be like, this is the time I pee, this is the time I code 5 lines, and here I code 10. And then when it fails, you're just lost, you know?
How did that go? How long did you use it for?
Thing is, that crash, because things were going really well in that time period. I don't know if you recall. And then that crash happened. It was a big crash because of the whole like breakup, moving, and all of that. And it's also partially, I think, why I'm convinced myself that this reset will survive, because I don't have any imminent,
Yeah.
changes or things like that. It's also, I guess, my sort of self-care that I've avoided drama and certain people and whatnot to focus a bit more. I don't know. I'm really convinced that.
Yeah, I like the optimism. I think it's a good thing. Obviously, go in with that. Hopefully, this is the one. I guess last question. What's one thing you like and one thing you hate about your ADHD? Do the hate first so we can end on a positive note.
Again, this is like you, and I pick moments to speak to you, and sometimes you love Amsterdam, sometimes you could leave literally the second. I think you've picked me at a moment where, I mean, I'm a little more ambivalent towards it, but definitely still leaning to the negative side. The first thing I think I thought of was like,
Yeah, go with the first thought that came to your mind.
it wasn't about ADHD, my like specifically things I go through, but it was a little bit like, I remember so vividly when I was growing up, and my mom would get very upset at me when I was fidgeting while she was speaking, and it instilled in me to not do that. And I'm kind of grateful now, because I mean, I consider it disrespectful, but not when other people do it, just for myself. Like
Okay, because I've been doing a lot of fidgeting.
no, like that, I don't care, but like, I like the idea that when I'm in a room with, say, like a professor or something, that I'm very conscious of like staying still, because that's what I consider to be a sign of respect. But that, I don't know, it probably locks the door of like, I don't know, the things you get yelled at as a kid. But positive, let's think. I guess it's kind of reaffirmed the parts of me when I'm not medicated, like when I'm super jumpy and happy, and I guess get these bursts, and I love like, I don't know, like seeing a friend like you most times, and I just blurt out everything that happened to me every second of every day, you know, in this super high energy. And by no means do I expect you to reciprocate it. By no means do I expect you to take it or anything. It's just, this is purely from me. And I think I get a lot of joy in that. And now I like, it's kind of affirmed that, yeah, this is still me. And when I'm not like this, I know it's the medication. And I will never consider myself as being me when I'm medicated. Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
what are your final words? I think you should end it.
I should end it.
Yeah.
Like, I learned a lot. A lot of the things you said, I could relate to. Well, not a lot of it, but some of it I could relate to. And I was like, oh, maybe. But I won't find out anytime soon, I don't think. But are you getting PTSD from
From the dog?
dog?
I was more thinking about you, and I mean, I'm not qualified whatsoever, but I don't think you're
A dog person? Oh, you're
a dog person. Just based on one thing and one thing, well, like two things. It's that you can feel full.
Yeah.
You can get work done and good work. Like you can get out of bed and start working. That's kind of impossible for the rest of us.
Okay.
So don't worry.
But yeah, I think I did learn a lot about ADHD, and hopefully I'm a lot less ignorant on the topic now. Yeah. I guess for what it's worth, the super blurred out everything is this most Sabrina version of Sabrina that I know.
I'm so glad. And I'm glad you don't like clock it when I am medicated.
No.
It stresses me.
I don't see the difference.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Good.
Nice.